26 people are dead in Texas after a gunman opened fire at a church in Sutherland Springs, Texas, Sunday. We'll tell you what we know coming up.
And ready or not, Virginians head to the polls tomorrow to choose their next governor. And the race is tightening, so who's leading the polls? District Wire News starts right now.
Local police are saying that the gunman had in-laws who attended the church. Devin Kelly sent his mother-in-law threatening text messages the day of the shooting. She was not inside the church when Kelly opened fire. After he left the church, an armed resident confronted and shot him. The gunman then took off in a Ford Explorer, eventually losing control and driving into a ditch. Law enforcement say they found him dead inside his car.
President Trump said today that the shooter's poor mental health, not guns, is at fault for the Sutherland shooting. He spoke from Japan, where he's making a 12-day trip to Asia.
This is a mental health problem at the highest level. It's a very, very sad event. These are great people and a very, very sad event. But that's the way I view it.
Trump did not elaborate on what mental health problems the shooter may have had. Both Trump and Texas Governor Greg Abbott called for flags to be flown at half-staff in honor of the victims. The Department of Public Safety says they are not currently investigating the shooting as a domestic terror incident.
Sutherland Springs is a small town of less than 700 people, about 30 miles east of San Antonio. The Texas Department of Public Safety says victims range from age 18 months to 77 years old. One of the victims was Annabelle Pomeroy, the 14-year-old daughter of the church's pastor. Pomeroy's parents were out of town when the shooting occurred, but their daughter was at the Sunday morning service when the gunman opened fire. Many of the other victims have not been publicly identified yet, pending notification of family members.
The Virginia governor's race is going to be tight, according to the latest New York Times poll. Democratic candidate Ralph Northam holds a 3-point lead to Republican candidate Ed Gillespie, 43% to 40%. The poll shows voters by race and educational background.
The candidates for Virginian governor are in the final sprint to Election Day, with volunteers knocking on doors and making last-minute phone calls to draw voters to the polls. Kelly Ferris has more on the story.
We are less than 24 hours away from polls opening in Virginia. On the ballot tomorrow are candidates for governor, lieutenant governor, Virginia House of Delegates, and many other school board and local positions. Arlington County Director of Elections Linda Lindberg says that this year's election is already breaking records.
There was a lot of absentee voting already done. It's a new record for a non-presidential election. In fact, it's exceeded even some presidential elections. However, I do think that we will have a record turnout tomorrow across Arlington. We had 49% turnout in the last gubernatorial election, which isn't so great. I think we'll be closer to 60% this time around.
The Virginia governor's race is one of the most highly anticipated elections taking place tomorrow. Bella Rafailova canvassed for Democratic candidate Ralph Northam this weekend and says this state election is extremely important for the future of Virginia politics.
Also, like this year, next year, it's important because whoever controls the legislatures is going to have power over redistricting, and that's going to control Congress for like the next 10 years, like after 2021.
Results for tomorrow's election will be available on Virginia's election website and will be updated throughout the evening. Thomas Kenna phone banked for Republican governor candidate Ed Gillespie this weekend and says he's hopeful about tomorrow's results.
Seriously, it's anybody's race because the polls are so close, but I am optimistic for the Republican ticket.
To find your nearest polling place, go to vote.elections.virginia.gov. I'm here in Arlington, Virginia, and behind me is Key School. Students here tomorrow will have the day off, as this is one of more than 50 polling locations in Arlington County. Polls like this one will open tomorrow at 6 a.m. and close at 7 p.m. For District Wire News, I'm Kelly Ferris.
The World Press Photo Foundation's DC exhibition is now open at the DuPont Underground. The show will be the largest ever in the United States and include archives from the past 60 years. Every year, the Photo Foundation receives 80,000 images, and industry experts select the winning photos. The still images are shown in over 100 cities worldwide. The exhibition will remain open until November 26th.
Coming up after the break, Special counsel Robert Mueller may have more evidence to bring charges against Michael Flynn only a week after the first rounds of indictments was announced.
And DC police officers are asking the public for help in preventing crime. How you can make your neighborhood safer when District Wire News returns.